Hello guys, welcome to the challenge number 3 of matrix series. So today's challenge is how to find the index of a specific element in a given matrix. The user will give us a matrix as well as an element, and we have to tell him whether the element is in this matrix or not, and if it is in the matrix, then where is it located. We have to give the index of that location. Okay, so let's take an example of it. So here is a given 3 by 4 matrix and 3 by 4 matrix, and let's say the user says to find 0, then we have to give the index of that 0, which means 2 by 2. And if he says find 1, then we have to give the index of all those 1, which means there are 3 1 in this matrix, so the answer should be 1 by 1, 2 by 3 and 3 by 4. And if he says find 5, then as we can see that there is no 5 in this matrix, so the program should give an output as not found. Okay, so that's it for the explanation. Now let's get into it. Okay. Okay, so guys, let me tell you first. There is an inbuilt function to find the index also, which is find function, like something like this. So if we define a vector like 1, 2, 3, and then find in vector A 2, then it will give us 2. Very simple. Now you will say that if it is so convenient, that why would we make our make a new find function by ourselves if it is already given. So let me tell you some of its drawbacks. If a is equals to 1 2 like something like this, some random numbers as you can see 0 9 7, and then if I find a equals, let's say there is no one in this set, right? So let's say if we find one, it will show this, like you can say. So some of the times it will be quite problematic, because if you are using in if statement that whether this term is in it or not, and you have to do another function based on the fact that this number is existent or not existent in this matrix, then you can't simply represent this quantity, like you see, like you can't use it in a if statement directly, or maybe it will be very problematic to use because it will show quite a lot of error. Also, if I like find something like a is equals to, let's say, 6, then it will show me 5. Now you can say that 6 is actually in the middle, so it should be 2 comma 2, but it shows 5, which means like 1 2 3 4 5, or 1 2 3 4 5. Here in this 3 by 3 matrix, you can because of 6 in the middle, you can't say the difference. But if I find, like, let's say 5 8, then it will show 2. Now the thing is, you will never know where that from where the 2 comes from. Like here we can say that yes, 2 is the from, like you go to downward direction, then you find 2. But what if I find, let's say a is equals to 3, it says 4, so we can say that it goes column by column. But the problem is it can't tell you the order. Like actually, if you don't know the order of the matrix, given matrix, you can't tell the position exactly. You will only say that yes, if I go column wise, it will go on the fourth. But what if the matrix is like 2 comma 2, then the 4 means it will be the last element. Like if the element is something like, if the matrix is something like 1 comma 2 comma 4 5 comma 3, even then when I say 3 find 3, it will say 4. So is this and this, like where was that 4, uh, whatever. So these are actually not at the same position, right? But it says so. So that's the difference. Like this 3 position and this 4 position, this 3 position is not same, but it will give the same output. So whenever we find, like whenever we don't know the order of the given matrix, it will be very problematic to use this find function. That's why we are making ourselves a new find function, which will give us the proper coordinates of that element. Okay, so there was a need for me to generate my own find function, which will be better than this function. So what will we do? We will simply first of all, let me clear the console, like clear. Okay. So what will we do to find to find a certain element? What can we do? Just think of it like that. We can simply just start a loop, and in that loop we can say that the x and y, or the row and column number will get, like automatically will get, like added, or you can say that they will increase automatically and search for the given number. And if that number is found, then we will capture that row and column number and put them inside an array. Let me show you an example. Like this is an empty array. Okay, I'm not coding right now. I have already told you that first of all we will make a diagram in our mind that what we have to do, and then we will do the coding thing. Coding thing is very easy. It's basic syntax. You can find it anywhere in every language. You can write it down. But the main thing is how to think about this. Okay, so first of all, let's create an empty array as we have told, as I have done here. Then we will create a loop. Before creating a loop, what I will do is I will say like x. Let me say like l comma m. Uh, sorry, this mode is really okay. So l comma n, and let it be the size of the matrix n. Let me say that n is the matrix which will be given to us, or you can say the input matrix is n. Okay, so we are assigning the number of rows of n to l and the number of columns of n to m. Then we will start a loop which will go to l, which will like this I showing the variable row. Okay, and it is going to the l means the number of rows of l, and then we will create another loop like j which will go to m. Why am I doing this? So that in this if for this loop, what will happen actually is that it will go in this order. First of all, it will check 1 by 1, then it go to 1 by 2, then it go to 1 by 3, and so then if the matrix or number of columns is 3, then it will change and it will go for 2 comma 1 and 2 comma 2 and something like that. So what happening is, we are making a function which will go row by row. You can also revert these two, like you can say that j will be first and I will be second, then it will be go column by column. Now it's going row by row, something like like go row by row. Okay, so what will happen here, then you can say that if the uh, I comma jth element of n is equals to the, let's say, the number given to us by the user to find out is b. Then if the number is, or say if the number is b, then we can say that if it is equals to b, then what will we do? We will simply do this, that if it is equals to b, then for y is equals to I, for y is equals to comma sorry, for y is equals to um, in the first column k. Let me define another variable k. I will tell you why I'm doing this. Because in MATLAB you can't assign him you can't assign an array to an element inside an array. Like you can't nest arrays inside an arrays. That's not possible in MATLAB. That's why here we have to use another variable. Let's just start it by 1, and then for y1 comma k we will say that it is equals to I, and also for y1 comma sorry k comma 1 we will assign it as not k comma 1. We can say that we want say something like an function which will give an output. In the first row it will give the rows, the number of rows, and the in the second column it will give the, it in second row it will give the number of columns, or the which is nth column. Okay, so we can say that in the second column of k it will give j. Okay, I will tell you why I'm doing this, and then we will say that k a plus 1. Like every time we assign a value to y, the k will get plus 1, which means we will assign the second value to the next column of the y. Okay, and else if it's not happening, then nothing. So we can we don't want anything to happen, we can simply say and. Okay, we will not use return here, because if we use return, the y value will get returned to its original value and then nothing will happen. Okay, so we'll not get an output, perfect output. Okay, now as you can see, this is the main algorithm. Okay, so what's happening here is, for example, if I say 1 comma 2 comma 3 is the matrix and we have to find 3. Okay, so what will it do? It will first of all check the first element, which is 1, and which is not equals to 3. So nothing happens. It will simply go to the next loop, which means j is equals to 2, and for j is equals to 2 it will check the 2 which is also not equals to 3, and then if it checks the 3 that is equals to 3, what will it do is it will assign y1 comma 1 equals to the I of that element, which means 1, and then it will assign 1 comma 2 comma k, which means 2 comma 1 equals to the j of that element, which is 3. So it means that it will return our array which is 1 comma 3, where the above rows, the first row will show the column of row of that row of that element, and the second row will show the column of that element. Okay, so Also there are some of improvements we can do here, like what if there is no output, something like that. So I have written a code already here. As you can see, this is the perfect code. This is the same thing as that. I've never changed anything else. I just written it in a code format. Okay, so first of all, we defined a function without any output, and then we named it as find, and then a comma b is the input, where a is the matrix and b is the number or the string we have to found. And then here is the size of a, which is equals to m and then we assigned a empty set to y, and then k is equals to 1, we initiated k, and then the same loop again. And here is the extra part, like if the size of y is equals to 0, as you can see, then it will display not found. Okay, simple. Like if because when will it show 0 0 0 comma 0? When there is no element in y. And if there is no element, when will there be no element in y? When there is no element in n I comma j, that is equals to b, and then the y will be simply left it out as this, and the size of this null array is 0 by 0 by default. Okay, so if it is 0 by 0, then we will say not found. Simple. And if it is anything else of 0 by 0, it will simply show y. And what is y here? Y is the empty array that will convert it into the transfer. Okay, so let's try this out. Like if I say find and then put an array, and let's say we search for 3, it will simply show 1 comma 3. Okay, very easy. In this way, when I want to use these indexes, we can simply say for the row index we can simply say the first row, and for column we can say the third. So in further functions we can use this function again and again in very conveniently. So in my upcoming videos, maybe I will be using this find function again and again. So make sure that you know about what is this. Okay, so let's say find 456 9432 111 333 and so on. Now if I put enter, you can simply say that it will showing the all the elements of 3 with their rows in the first row, and the columns in the second row. So it is very convenient to use. If I say like if I found some